Here in a minute. Oh, here we go. Good morning, everyone. This is Commissioner Bell. Today is Tuesday, March 26, 2024, and we'll call this meeting to order at 8 a.m. As a reminder, our call-in number is 971-254-3149, conference ID 866-914-607#. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to mute your phones. You can do this by pressing *6. Please unmute yourself when called to speak, again pressing *6. It's very important for all others to remain muted. Thank you. So we've called this meeting to order. We'll start off with the Board of Commissioners roll call. Commissioner Olson, are you with us this morning?
Good morning. Yes, I am. I'm here.
Good morning. And Commissioner Scar?
Good morning, everyone. I'm here.
Good morning. Okay, we'll jump right in with Adventist Health Tillamook and President Eric Swanson.
Hey, good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
We have 15 patients in the hospital today, plus 2 brand new babies. Ambulance crews did 5 911 transports, 4 transfers, no transports home yesterday. There's 107 patients boarding in emergency departments across Oregon. That's 24 more than yesterday. 358 patients who are waiting to be discharged with no place to go. That's 10 less than yesterday. I continue to work on looking for a solution for dialysis, and as I've reported several times, it's very difficult. I did have a promising conversation yesterday with a group, and when I say promising, it simply means they didn't say no right off the bat. They said they would do some due diligence and get back to me. So again, if you're needing something for your prayer list, this is one of those things, and I'll keep working to till we exhaust all the options that we can find for our folks who have end-stage renal disease in this community. Last thing I want to share with you this morning is I just got this in my email, some 5-star reviews for the emergency department. And, going in the emergency department is usually not fun, but I have some good reviews from people. And one of them says, "I would not wish to ever go to the ER, but if I had to go, I would rather be there than Portland metro area where I reside," which I thought was a nice compliment. And the next one is, the whole team seems to operate together like a German-built car, precise and dependable, but enough power to get out of a bad situation. And the last one is, Stacy was fantastic. She kept me up to date as to what was going on, super nice, and listened to what I was telling her. And Stacy's been my nurse before, and she is a star for sure. So just some nice, good reviews from folks who've had to use our emergency department. And unless you have questions, that's all I've got for you this morning.
Thank you, Eric. And thanks for sharing those positive reviews. It really is nice to hear when people have good experiences. I think we all hear often when people are unhappy, and it's really wonderful to hear when people have good experiences. And a good experience in a medical emergency is life-changing. So thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Hey, can I ask you to confirm or dispel a rumor that I heard recently that I'm assuming this is a false rumor, but you would be the guy who can address it here in a public forum. I heard that Adventist Health was going to keep the renal clinic open, for the dialysis clinic open for the next couple of years until you can find someone else. So I'm assuming that's not true, but can you address that?
Yeah, that's not true. I wish we could, but as I've said before, that operating a dialysis clinic is complicated. You need expertise in the administration of dialysis, and we're not able to keep it open. In fact, I've talked to a couple critical access hospitals that do some inpatient dialysis, but the one I spoke with last week, they absolutely don't do outpatient, because the other thing is that the outpatient, there's additional licensure requirements that are above and beyond what a hospital does. So what we have done is we have extended a month-to-month lease with U.S. Renal Care, so they can stay here until they have a final disposition of all of their patients, whether they're going to be doing home dialysis or transfer somewhere else. But no, we're not going to be able to accomplish that.
Thank you. Thanks for addressing that. I assumed that was true, but wanted to go straight to the source.
Yep, I appreciate that.
Do we have any questions for Eric? If not, let's jump over to the Coastal Caucus. I know we have Senator Weber with us. Good morning.
Good morning. It's not raining right now. I'm kind of surprised. I'm sorry I wasn't here with you last week. I took a little vacation with my sister-in-laws, and we took a week in Hawaii. And so it was good to spend time with family and get warm.
That's great.
It was great. Just because we're not in session any longer doesn't mean that we're not working. It seems that this is more than just a 180-day work year on 1 year and a 35-day work year on another year. This is a full-time job. And so as soon as I got back, I have jumped into all of the task forces that I have part of. I'm on the Oregon Hunger Task Force, the Early Literacy Education Preparation Council, chronic absenteeism, which we are addressing in our schools, and substitute teachers. And so this will take up the majority of my time until we meet again then in May. We meet quarterly in Salem to discuss issues and to get reports on everything that has happened in the interim. So I will continue to stay busy. People drive by and see me sitting in the window of my sunroom, and I'm usually on a meeting. And I'm learning a lot, and I'm hoping that I am also being able to make a difference. Right now also, we are dealing with the money issues and how to be able to get the money that came out in the bills for our area to our folks. And you know, when you're dealing with a big bureaucracy, sometimes these things take a lot of finessing to be able to get the money to the proper people at the proper time. And so that is something we are working on. In this short session, there were 291 bills that were brought forward, and there were 135 of them that were passed. Sorry, Martin, moment. Okay. And so right now we're working with the governor's office to make sure that these things are taken care of so that they can be signed and dispatched and go into law. I'm also working on several things here locally with the Marie Mill Board this week, and also the economic development. And I think that those are two things that we as community members need to pay attention because of all that they offer our community. Our Economic Development Council works very hard to make sure that we as a county are going forward and keeping abreast of all of what's happening in the state, and making sure that we are taking care of the economic development concerns that we have within our district. They're a very dedicated group of people. The other thing I wanted to say is, voting time is coming up. We're all going to have an opportunity to express our opinion here in May. What is it? The 21st of May is election day. And if you have not had a chance to register to vote, remember you need to do that 21 days before the election. And so it's very easy to do. You need to make sure that you have done it because you need to have a voice. My dad always said, if you don't vote, you can't complain about the outcome. So, take that to heart too. We're seeing a lot about our FFA recently. They've been competing and they have been working at their convention. And I think that I'm not going to name any names, but I will tell you that our Tillamook delegation to FFA is doing very, very well. In fact, one of our young people is going to be a state officer. And so I think that we need to congratulate them on the way for the wonderful job that they are doing. I also want to just tell you, Happy Easter. It's kind of a turning point. Hopefully the weather is going to be nice on Easter Sunday. And I really want to compliment our community in our area for all of the activities and church services and the effort that they put into making Easter the special holiday that it is. And with that, if you have any questions, just shout out. And thank you for letting me be here again.
Thank you, Senator. I appreciate your report as always. We missed you last week, and I'm very happy for you. You were able to have a vacation in Hawaii with your family. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Do we have any questions for Senator Weber? Well, if not, I wanted to mention something that I'm excited about. Yesterday, I had a conversation that's related to the governor's legislation on housing. In the short session, I was talking to somebody who owns property that's just outside of the city limit of one of our small cities, who wants to develop that property for housing, and hasn't yet because sewer wasn't available because it's outside of the city boundary. And so it's possible that the governor's legislation will enable the city to annex that property into the city limits in order to develop housing. And so it's just, I was so excited to have the conversation and to see, in real time, like that could actually start working here in Tillamook County directly. So it's super exciting.
Yes, I have to say that not every project was earmarked, but there are opportunities within the legislation that was passed for communities to be able to draw from what was proposed, to be able to enhance their sewer and water systems, to be able to go forward. And so there are opportunities within the bills that were passed to move forward, and that's very hopeful.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we're seeing real movement on the issue of housing in Tillamook County, and I'm super grateful for that. Well, if we don't have anything else for Senator Weber, I'll ask if Representative Javadi is on the line.
I am here.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Senator Weber, for taking care of the update. I appreciate it, and welcome back from Hawaii. Good morning, Commissioners. Glad to be here. I have a very brief today. It was a very quiet week for issues. There were several emails from constituents concerned about the whole host of problems, everything in the district from housing, like we've heard, to drugs and what's being done, when will we see changes with homelessness, etc. So it's good to see people are paying attention and hoping to see results quickly. Of note, what I was working on this week in that vein, a lot of questions about what type of impact is fentanyl and other drugs like marijuana having on the traffic accidents that we're having throughout the county. I talked with and throughout the districts, talked with both sheriffs to look into that. Was then contacted several agencies to get some information. That information is coming in, but our first review of it, just is that it does have an impact, like we would suspect. However, it's still not as big an impact. I think this was surprising to me, as alcohol is, which is still the number one contributor to vehicle accidents, including death and injury. But and then after that, the next highest contributor is marijuana, and so just encouraging everyone out there, to make sure you're having discussions with your loved ones, especially our youth, and let them know the dangers of those substances can have when combined with driving. And then regarding fentanyl, I know we lost another member of our community in the last couple of weeks, probably more, but one that I think was a little bit more high profile, and my condolences to the family. It sounds like this is another instance of where somebody was taking a substance they didn't realize was laced with fentanyl, and unfortunately was, and it cost them everything. So please be careful. We will start to see the effects of Measure 110 adjustment, to changes that were made, but it will be slowly over the next several months as the structure of that gets put into place. This week I'll be meeting with representatives from Multifamily Housing Northwest, as well as to discuss housing issues. And then I'll also be meeting up in Bay City with the Kiltus Water District, looking at some issues there. And then I'm in contact with Senator Merkley's office. We're hoping when he comes through to his town hall in a couple of weeks that he'll have some info on how we can get some more dollars, some money for our wastewater and water treatment facilities, as well as what might be able to be done at the national level to address the impact that the HCP will have on our communities. So the agencies do have to approve the habitat conservation plan that the Department of Forestry adopted, and so hoping that maybe they can provide some checks and balances there as we go forward with that. And I think is everything on my list for now. Like I said, it's been a quiet week, which has been nice to get caught up on stuff that I was very behind on. Oh, and then I will be part of a task force that is looking at e-cigarettes, flavored tobacco, and the impact it's having on our youth, and what can be done in Oregon, short of, they're right now considering everything from like they did last session. I don't know if this landed on people's radars, but in the long session, there was a bill that was working its way through the legislature that would ban all flavored tobacco. At first, even menthol flavored, and that included that would apply to chewing tobacco, as well as cigarettes, cigars. At first, were included, and of course, vaping and e-cigarettes. What wasn't included was marijuana, and they didn't feel like at the time that should be included. They're going to be revisiting that in the long session again, and I'm going to be a part of that discussion this time, and I think their heart's in the right place. We do have a problem with e-cigarettes, and they are very harmful on brain development, of all things, with our youth, and that data is pretty convincing, and so we want to take a look at how do we make it harder for this to get into the hands of our youth. Like I said, they were considering a total ban last time. They're going to try that again. I'm hoping we can get in there and unfortunately, the impact would be widespread. It would affect adults as well. And whereas a dentist, I think that tobacco and public service announcement, I guess here, I think tobacco products are terrible for your teeth and health. I understand that adults are able to make their own choices as well, as long as they've been informed of those risks. So I would not like to see a complete ban on tobacco, flavored tobacco, but I do want to find out ways to make it harder for our youth to get their hands on it. And while I know we can't be 100%, at doing that, whatever we can do to help reduce the number of youth using those products, I think would be a win for all of us and societies also. That is my update. What questions can I answer, if any?
Thank you, Representative. Well, I'm interested to hear you talk about that flavored tobacco issue. When my son was in high school, which was 10-ish years ago, he got started vaping, and I was astonished to learn, like, the things that he was vaping were Tutti Frutti something and strawberry sundae such and such, and there would be this cloud of noxious sweet, like a weird smell, and it was very, very clear that the marketing was targeting young people who wanted to vape something because vaping looked cool, in air quotes, you can hear those, It
Yeah.
looked cool, like this big cloud of vapor coming out of a kid, and it smelled like candy, and it probably tasted like candy. It was perfectly clear that that marketing campaign was all about kids. And, you know, it's 10 years later and we still haven't banned it. And I think we should. And at that time, they didn't know yet what the health impacts were because it was brand new. But they know now, you know, it shouldn't have been a surprise to anybody that there were negative health impacts. But for people taking chemicals into their lungs in that way, and so, you know, it's not surprising to me now to hear that there are health impacts. But what you just said about the development of the brain makes it that much more serious. So I'm glad we're still working on it and still talking about it. And I appreciate your advocacy on that, because it's just, you know, it's one thing for well-informed adults to make their own decisions about that, but the marketing of dangerous chemicals to kids is just maddening.
Yeah, it is frustrating. And, you know, they did a survey in the American Dental Association. I was just reading about it. Most users are under the age of 34, and the highest percentage of users are the 18 to 24-year-olds. And we know the brain development doesn't stop or isn't completed until about 25. What they found when they looked at the youth that were taking this was that the synapses in the brain, which is, you know, how memories are formed, how impulse control is determined, and the strength of those synapses, is infected by things like nicotine, and it will impair certain synapses, and others it'll strengthen, especially those around, like I said, impulse control, which it seems to hardwire the brain at a young age to prioritize certain behaviors and attitudes when nicotine is present. And some of those don't disappear as we get older because of the way the brain is structured. If you think of a house being built like in comparison to brain development, we're really setting up the walls and the foundation of the house for a youth. And structurally, that's hard to change later in life. It's not impossible. I think that's well documented science on all sorts of levels. So if, you know, getting this out of the hands of our youth, I think is it's going to be an impossible problem to solve, because there will always be a way for youth to get it from adults who can get it legally. California passed a law that banned it for online sales as well a couple of years ago. And what they found was that online retailers still sold it to youth, and youth could just go online and buy it. And so they had to double back and try it again. And so where there's a will, there's a way with this type of stuff. And I think, to your point, Commissioner, the marketing and the flavoring is designed to get the attention of kids who don't understand, per that survey, that there are health risks, that there's even nicotine in this stuff, and that it will cause damage to your brain as well as your teeth, lungs, et cetera. So probably more technical than we need to get into, but it is a problem. And coming up with the right policy is going to be a lot of work. That I'm committed to working on this in the upcoming session with Reps Reynolds and Sam, and then trying to get it over to the Senate to get through there as well. So we'll keep at it, and I appreciate your support.
Thank you. And I don't think it's too technical. I think it's fascinating. I really appreciate it when we can dig into a topic on this call. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hey, do we have any other
other
questions? If not, we can say thank you to the representative and move on to Tillamook County
Okay.
Community Health Center.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
And hello, Commissioners. This is Ed Colson with the Health Department here.
Good morning, Ed.
Good morning. Good morning, Tillamook County. Well, we haven't been here for a couple of weeks, but we've got some health center updates here. Financial stability is a priority focus area for our Tillamook County wellness work. We have partnered with Financial Beginnings to deliver free financial literacy classes in Tillamook County. Classes are delivered over 6 weeks, broken down into themes, from the basics of budgeting to understanding credit, debt, and insurance, and finally taxes. We want to make sure people know about the classes, and we also want to recruit more volunteer instructors. We are asking local employers and businesses to help us get the word out. If you or others in your organization and business are interested in helping local residents get back on their feet financially, we invite you to sign up for an upcoming volunteer training. These classes are being offered at Helping Hands, CARE, Trask High School, and at Tillamook Bay Community College. Volunteers can sign up to teach whatever classes they feel most comfortable teaching, and there's an opportunity to shadow other instructors to gain a better understanding of the material and or teaching methods. So please follow Tillamook County Wellness for updates on classes, offerings, and check out our website, tillamookcountywellness.org. Now, it's a couple weeks out, but we'd like to announce the official opening of our new Public Health Services building on April 19th from 3 to 5 p.m. with a ribbon cutting ceremony at 3:15 and then open house to follow. The address of that new building is 2111 8th Street in Tillamook. And then this Saturday is National Doctor Day, and that marks an important occasion in the world of healthcare. This annual observance serves as a moment to honor the dedication, skill, and unwavering commitment of physicians in providing high-quality healthcare to individuals and communities worldwide. Physicians play a pivotal role in safeguarding and improving the well-being of patients. Their extensive education, training, and experience are essential in diagnosing and treating a vast array of medical conditions. Beyond their clinical roles, doctors contribute significantly to medical research, innovation, and the continuous improvement of healthcare practices. So this Saturday, March 30th, offers an opportunity for patients and healthcare institutions to express their gratitude and appreciation for the tireless efforts of physicians. Thank you to all our local physicians. We appreciate you. And that is our health department update. I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Ed. Do we have any questions for Ed? Well, I have one. You talked about the ribbon cutting for the new health department clinic on April 19, and I wonder if you can tell us what will be housed in that clinic.
Yeah, so our public health services building has a number of our public health departments in there, including environmental health, public health, and a few of our other services that we provide, such as WIC. More information will definitely be at the open house, but right off the bat, we would love to have community come and visit and learn more about each of the departments that Tillamook County Public Health supports.
Thank you, Ed. Well, if we don't have anything else for Ed, we can move on to the Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy. Gail Nelson, are you with us this morning?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
I do not have any special announcements this morning, but I would like to wish everyone a happy Easter and congratulations to the health department for the new facility opening. I look forward to visiting and seeing what all the good things that have been happening as the building gets up to speed. So thank you.
Thank you, Gail, and happy Easter to you too.
Thank you.
Okay, Tillamook Family Counseling Center is not available this morning, and neither is Sheriff Brown. So we'll jump forward to Emergency Management and Randy Thorpe.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
Well, on the weather front this week, the National Weather Service is predicting some high surf on Wednesday and Thursday, and this is due to a strong front that's going to move over the waters Tuesday night into Wednesday, and look for some gale force winds, and they're predicting waves as high as 17 to 20 feet Wednesday and Thursday. So those who are visiting and those who are going to be down along our beaches over the next few days, just be aware of some active weather patterns in our ocean. So just again, be very careful. And I just found out that this week is actually Tsunami Awareness Week. I guess the last couple of distant tsunamis that did some extensive, not some extensive damage, but actually we received some issues and problems was back with the let's see, well, that was the, there was, oh God, I lost it. I'm so sorry. Anyway, just be careful, and also just remember that we do live in an area that is prone to possibly receive damages from tsunamis. So with that, enjoy the rain over the next few days, but just be extremely careful when you're out and about. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Randy. Any questions for Randy? Well, I'm specific to Tsunami Awareness Week. I also did not know it was Tsunami Awareness Week, but during 2011, I worked for the paper during 2011 when the Tohoku earthquake and tsunami happened in Japan. And I learned a lot about it at the time. And at that time, there was a big push to encourage people that wherever you are on the coast, know where your tsunami evacuation route is. And so I think that would be, it would be good for us to be repeating those messages, because sometimes that kind of public messaging, you know, there's a lot of it that happens for a period of time, and then you think, okay, everybody's heard this message and they're getting tired of it, and then we move on to another message. But I think it's important to circle back around. And that message was specifically about know where your tsunami evacuation route is from home, and practice it all times of day and night, and practice it in every season. And, you know, if you live practically anywhere on the North Coast, your tsunami evacuation route might be totally covered up with blackberries. You know, we need to maintain our tsunami evacuation routes. Know if you're actually in the tsunami inundation zone, which you can know by, you can call or email Randy Thorpe, and you can look it up on the Dogami website. That's DOGAMI website. You could just Google Dogami tsunami evacuation maps. So know if you're in a tsunami evacuation zone, and also know where your evacuation route is, but also where's your evacuation route from work, and where is your child's evacuation route from wherever they are, if they're in school or in daycare or whatever, what's that route? And also when you go visit someplace on the coast, like, you know, wherever you go to visit, you should know where the tsunami evacuation route from that place is. So it doesn't take a lot of awareness to start clocking, like, where am I and where's the evacuation route? But it takes some, and that level of awareness could be life-saving. So I thank you for the reminder, Randy, and I think it will be good for us to start repeating messages that the public may not have heard for a while. So thank you for bringing it up. So let's jump into the Board of Commissioners reports and start with Commissioner Scar.
Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning. You're welcome.
Good morning. So I would say the tsunami awareness is really a good thing for us to have on our minds. And I'll just add to that, people say, well, how will I know? How will I know if I need to evacuate? And there are three different kinds of tsunamis. There is a distant tsunami, which typically happens like the one that was in Japan. And that one, you wouldn't typically need to evacuate. The effects are generally fairly small, but you would know because there would be emergency management messages going out telling you an earthquake has occurred. We are expecting, 5 feet of rise in our ocean, something like that, which you have time. Typically, there are many hours between that type of an earthquake and the effects on our coast. There is a medium sort of tsunami where you, again, would be hearing from emergency management, because that would not be an earthquake we would feel. We would not necessarily know it was coming. The one that we talk about the most is the Cascadia event earthquake, which we expect to be a very large earthquake right here. And you won't probably hear from emergency management, but what you will feel is significant shaking significant and prolonged shaking from the earthquake. And when that happens, don't wait to be notified. Don't wait to get a nixle. Don't wait for anything. That's when you immediately head for your evacuation route and move as rapidly as you can. So just another piece of that I think, back to Commissioner Bell's comment about the 2011 tsunami warning, at that time, we didn't really understand the differences. We didn't know if we should all be leaving the coast completely or what we should be doing. And that one was a distant tsunami. So we didn't all need to evacuate, but we didn't know know that then. So learn a little bit more about what types of tsunamis are possible here, what type of timeline you would have, and how you would know. But the biggest thing to know is if the earth shakes, head for higher ground as fast as you can. So thank you for letting me just tack on to that one. I'm going to talk a little bit this morning about some of the internal things we have going on at the county. We quite often talk a lot about the community work that we are doing as commissioners, because commissioners really have, I always think of as kind of three roles. The first role is that together, the three commissioners comprise the CEO of the county. We are the manager. The county doesn't have an additional manager or administrator. Some counties do, we don't. So we do this work ourselves as commissioners. The second thing we do is the community work you hear about very frequently, the different projects we work on out in the community, but here in Tillamook County. And then the third role we have is really working at the state and federal levels to make sure that we are carrying the message of the county forward and keeping our eyes out for anything that could be dangerous or damaging to the county, and that we're working on those issues. But internally, we've had a lot of work going on, and I think we've mentioned a couple of these pieces. One of them is that we have been working on mission, vision, values, and a strategic plan for the county. And this is something that the county has not done for a really long time. And I think it's a really important body of work for us to be doing now. We are looking at, as we keep talking about, budget challenges and all of that. But what we want to be able to do inside that environment is choose wisely the direction that we are helping the county to move. And we've done a number of things related to that mission, vision, values, and strategic plan. One of them was working with the Futures Council about 1.5 years ago to do a significant amount of work to listen to our community, to hear what folks would like our county to look like going forward, what's important to people out there. And now we're doing the next step, which is working with our employees to determine what is important for us inside the county. Because the county, however, you think of it as a government, and it is a government, and we provide services to you. And we need to think of it as an employer, as in essence, a nonprofit business that's providing service. And we have to think about, how do we do our best work in-house to achieve the sorts of things that we have heard from the community they're looking for in our community? So we're doing that work, and it's important work. It's also, it takes some time and energy, and I want to thank our leadership team who's been participating. I want to let anybody else staff-wise that may be listening know that we will be bringing forward this work to all staff and providing an opportunity for all staff to have some input. And we expect that this strategic plan will be finished, I think, sometime around the end of our fiscal year. So sometime around the end of June or July, we will have a draft strategic plan that we will be ready to have available. And if people in the community are interested, we'll have some opportunities for people to look at that as well. So that's one of the big projects that's happening in-house. We are also looking at our facilities, and this is a report that I just got yesterday late from Rachel, from our chief of staff. But one of the things we did with some of the money that came from the COVID money, from the ARPA money, was to engage a consulting firm to look at all of the physical assets of the county, all of our buildings, all of our facilities throughout all of our departments, to see, where are we? What is the condition? What kind of maintenance, upkeep, and investment will be needed in these physical facilities over the next 10 plus years? And we did this because when you look at the value of the assets that we hold as a county, it's really significant. And it is our job, as we serve you, the community, to make sure that we're taking good care of our assets. Additionally, it is important that for the work environment of our employees, that we are providing them what they need to do the work that they do. So this is another huge piece, I think, of what we are coming together to do as the CEO of the county. But I thought it was interesting, just a quick summary, that the county's portfolio includes 29 buildings and park spaces that total approximately 223,000 square feet. The buildings include the county courthouse, the Justice Facility, the Pioneer Museum. Yes, we own that building. Library, health department buildings, road department buildings, parks department sites, and solid waste buildings. And the original construction dates for the buildings range from 1905 to 1997, with several buildings having undergone remodels. So it's really an interesting piece for us to look at and to put into our budget and our planning. How will we care for the facilities we have? Because we can't afford to build a new courthouse. We can't afford to build a new public works facility. So we need to make sure that what we have is maintained, cared for, and upgraded adequately to be able to do what we do. So anyway, it's an interesting study, just starting to dig into it, but it will help guide us as we figure out into the future how we will spend those resources. So two big things we're doing inside. Couple other things. I know that the Merkley Town Hall was mentioned. It is April 6th. I have yet to see a location for that. So perhaps one of my fellow commissioners has that. If not, keep your eyes peeled because it's not far away. And I know that those town halls are always just a great way to get in touch with your federal representation and the senator in this case to find out what's happening in Washington, D.C. and make sure that our voices are heard here to get our priorities pushed up to the federal level. So April 6th, and I believe it will start at 10:30. And again, I have not yet heard a location. With that, I will turn it back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Nor have I heard the location yet. And I reached out to Senator Merkley's staff person, Gustavo, yesterday. And so I expect to hear back from him so we can definitely announce that next week. But often it's at the Port of Tillamook Bay in the officers' mess. So until I hear otherwise, I'm assuming it is there April 6th, 10:30 a.m.
Yeah, last
Commissioner.
year it was at the high school cafeteria.
Oh
So-
my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, so keep your eyes peeled, just because they do move it around a bit. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Hey, Commissioner Olson.
Well, good morning again, Commissioner. I'll mention Senator Merkley as well, and I don't know where the meeting will be either. So I guess I would just simply say that Senator Wyden was here a couple or 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I think, and now Senator Merkley. So you may agree with these people or you may disagree, but the fact is they do show up. And so it's an opportunity to go up and shake their hand and ask a question or two and get a little bit personal with them. And so that's a good thing because most of the time they're back in Washington, D.C., but they do make an effort to come around. And I can tell you, having been around this stuff for a long time, not all our representatives and senators that we send back east do that. So probably a good thing. Next thing I'll mention, we at the county are entering into our annual budget season. We'll have some hearings in a couple of weeks. And just by referencing what the county budget is, it's about $150 million, and it spread across a wide variety of departments. There are enterprise funds, there's some fund accounting. It's a fairly complex budget. There's money that comes in for specific purposes. There's money that comes in for some discretionary purchases up to the Board of Commissioners and the Budget Committee. And there's lots and lots of moving parts in this one. And so if you've ever seen a county budget, and these days it's basically all done on computers, but when it's printed out, it's about 8 or 10 inches thick. It's really a pile of documents and a fairly important and significant document and quite complicated. So I'll just leave it at that. We'll talk about that more. One thing that the county commission did just at our last meeting is we approved moving forward on a new radio system for the county, and that would be a public safety system. That's the two-way radios that are used by police and fire and our ambulance services, public works, Tillamook PUD, the transportation system, the buses across the county, and there's about 12 transmitters on various mountaintops around the county. And the system itself that we've been using over the years is now 20 plus years old. And as you can imagine, electronics change. I think most of you listening probably don't have the same TV you had 20 years ago, nor do you have the same phone that you had. You probably didn't even have a portable phone 20 years ago, and certainly not an iPhone because they haven't been around that long. Same thing with radios. They do become obsolete. It's hard to get parts for them and more difficult to maintain. So a lot more to come on that, but we're looking at a new system. We've had consultants looking at what we have, and basically it's time for an upgrade. So much more to come on that as we move along. We also have another subject. This morning, Tillamook Lightwave has its monthly meeting. I think I mentioned before they're about to receive a $147,000 planning grant, which will help prepare the documents and the planning to get some of the larger sums of money that have come to Oregon. Oregon is in the process of receiving about $700 million to extend high-speed internet services throughout rural Oregon, not downtown Portland or downtown Eugene or Salem, but rural Oregon. And that's a good thing. And we're hoping that we'll get a significant share of that and can bring high-speed internet to parts of Tillamook County now that are underserved. We also have an election coming up, and one of my departments happens to be our county clerk. And we are preparing, they really are doing all the work, preparing for the election. The ballots go out, I believe, on May 1, and then the election itself is May 21. And many of you have been through that, and it's all vote by mail. I will tell you this year, there's a new envelope for returning. It's white, unlike some of the yellow ones we had in the past, but it has a little yellow bar on it. And you'll put your ballot after you complete it in that envelope, and you'll send it back to the county. And the postage is paid under Oregon law that changed a year or two ago. So our county clerk, Christy Nithis, has done a good job getting all that ready to go, and you will receive your ballots around the first part of May. And also the county is in the process of purchasing some additional cameras that will be in the elections department. I'm sure everyone has been aware of some irregularities or alleged irregularities or other criticisms of the voting across America. Well, in Tillamook County, like most of Oregon, it's pretty straightforward. There's been no significant issues over the years, but just to protect the integrity of the election, there'll be additional cameras on site. And of course, if there's ever a challenge, you can go back and look at every ballot that came through and how it was handled and processed. So more to come on that as we get closer to the elections. And the last thing I'll mention, since it is election season, the Pacific City Nestucca Valley Chamber will have its almost annual candidate forum on April 2nd. That would be a week from today. It'll be at the Kiowanda Community Center. And the candidates for the Oregon legislature, the county commission, and there are 2 positions, 5 candidates, are assessor and possibly one other position. Well, both the county clerk and the sheriff are also up for election, but they won't be on the spring ballot. So candidates for all those positions will be at this forum, and it's a public forum. Anybody can come to the Kiowanda Center in Pacific City at 12 noon. And you can hear from those candidates, you can ask them questions and find out who will be your leaders for the next few years. So with that, Commissioner, I think that's it for today. I'll hand it back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Well, I have a couple things I wanted to mention. One is Commissioner Scar was talking about the role of Tillamook County Commissioners as managers, as working managers of the county. And so I wanted to speak to that for a minute and give an example. So each commissioner, you can find this on our website, each commissioner is liaison to certain departments and also other organizations in the community. And because we don't have a county manager or administrator, the commissioner serves in that role. So we get very involved in the operations, the budget, et cetera, of the departments to which we're liaison, which is why I am the interim director of parks, because when we had a gap in leadership in the parks department, I'm the liaison. I have been for 5 years. So I've been the interim director of parks since October, which actually I love. And I'm joining you today from Barview Jetty County Park. So it's been a joy to do this. And I wanted to share the good news that we've made an offer to a parks director candidate. The offer's been accepted. So we're in the process of doing background checks, et cetera. And that person is no doubt in the process of looking for housing. And so keep your fingers crossed for people who want to come work here and then have the challenge of finding a place to live. So I hope that goes smoothly. But if everything works the way we hope it does, we'll have a new parks director in place on May 1st. So that's very exciting and just in time for the huge summer crush of visitors. So that's exciting. I've been here for quite a while. I've learned a lot. I totally enjoy it, and Parks really deserves a Parks professional who can take Parks to the next level. So that's exciting for us. And I also wanted to talk a little bit about emergency management. Randy and I were in several meetings yesterday. Yesterday was an emergency management kind of day. He and I met to talk about the budget, and which was fruitful. So we're looking at opportunities for we really would love to get someone who could help with volunteer coordination, because we have such an active community in terms of emergency preparedness in the county, in the communities that are in the tsunami zone. That will be isolated in emergencies. So we have a North County group, we have a South County group, we have several smaller groups in the middle. There's an Adana group and an Oceanside group, et cetera. And so the county, we want the county to support all of these groups, but Randy is one person and we'd love to be able to get some kind of volunteer coordination. So Randy and I met about that. And then we went to the monthly county emergency communicators meeting, which is hosted by PUD. So shout out to PUD, because they are doing a phenomenal job of hosting and leading the process of county communicators coming together. They have started a new Facebook page that we'll get links to soon, and because we talked about it yesterday, we'll get links to soon so we can like them and share them. And that'll be a Facebook page, because our community largely, in terms of social media, largely communicates by Facebook, not entirely, but largely. And that's our biggest demographic for social media. And so we'll have people will have permissions for that Facebook page who are communicators in emergency situations, and they'll be able to upload their information to that Facebook page. And eventually we'll spread the word in the community that this is the place to go when you need information during an emergency. So that is very positive forward movement. And we're also talking about a website, but people wanted to start with the Facebook page, get that going, and then consider a website, because not everybody is on Facebook. Some people would prefer to go to a website. So we'll start with Facebook first. And yesterday we had a training from an emergency preparedness professional in Washington County who came and presented on it's called the PACE, P-A-C-E, Emergency Communication System. And that stands for primary communications, alternate communications, contingency communications, and emergency communications. And it was very, very helpful in terms of setting up, like in an emergency, if everything goes well, we'll all still have power and Wi-Fi, and we'll all be able to communicate in the ways we do now. But if that doesn't happen, those would be our primary communications. If that doesn't happen, we need to move to contingency communications. And if those fail, we'll need to move to alternate communications. And if those fail, we move to emergency communications. And so not only does every organization need to have this plan in place, develop the plan, put it in place, practice it, but also as a community, we need to work with each other's plans so that when we're in that serious emergency, we know how to communicate with each other. So there are people in this group from PUD, from the county, from the cities, there are city managers there, from the school district, from emergency responders, et cetera. And all of the sheriff's office, all of those entities are going to need to know how to communicate with each other. So So now our next task is to, as organizations, to develop our own PACE plans and then come back together and put them together in a matrix so that we have each other's PACE plans, and then we have a plan for how to communicate with each other under those circumstances. So there's very dynamic work happening with that county communicators group. And I just want to thank again PUD for hosting us, and I want to thank everyone who's participating, because we're really making great progress. And then in the afternoon, we had another emergency management meeting with OREM, which is the Oregon Resilience and Emergency Management Department. And they were in Tillamook asking people to help them develop. They're developing statewide what's called island maps, island in quotes, island meaning places that will be totally isolated in an emergency. And so this isn't a new concept, but OREM is developing their island maps so that they will know specifically the function of OREM is to help people in an emergency, and to be able to figure out how to get people food and water and medicine, how to evacuate people who need to be evacuated, like medical emergencies or visitors. God forbid if we have a major emergency in the summer when we have tens of thousands of visitors, how to reunite families. So that's the function of OREM. And they are looking at mapping Oregon in island areas to be able to say, and of course, not surprisingly, most of these islands will be on the Oregon coast, and not exclusively, but that's what we were talking about yesterday. And the idea is where they're trying to figure out if they deliver caches of supplies to us now, where should they be when the emergency happens and people need them and no one can get in and no one can get out? Where should those caches of supplies be to help people survive in that kind of catastrophic emergency? So there were a lot of people in the meeting yesterday, a lot of emergency responders, folks from the fire district, folks from cities, and volunteers. And so I'm grateful to everybody who showed up yesterday to help with that mapping effort. And I'm really grateful that OREM has taken such an interest in Tillamook County, because it's really dramatic. Like we are the first county that they're deeply engaging with. We won't be the only one, but we're the first. And so we will benefit from that tremendously when we have that kind of emergency. So that was a full day of excellent work that I just wanted to share with the community. And with that, we will jump to the cities. Do we have someone on? Do we have Mayor Stock on from Manzanita? Give her a minute to unmute. Or Linda Kozlowski, anyone from Manzanita?
Commissioner Bell, this is
Yes.
Linda. Hi, welcome. I know Mayor Stock is on the line and probably at this moment trying to get on, but I just wanted to thank you particularly and the commissioners for all the work you're doing on emergency management and preparation. This relationship with OREM is, I just hope people understand how amazing it is, and the fact that they are focusing on Tillamook County. And of all the state agencies, they are the ones that really work with boots on the ground and local jurisdictions, and working with them as partners. So I just wanted to thank you again for all you do, and those meetings yesterday were just outstanding. So if Mayor
I am
Stock
here, Councilor.
Okay, then I will back down, and thank you very much, and thanks for the opportunity to share that with you.
Thank you, Linda. I really appreciate that. And welcome, Mayor Stock.
Thank you. That was Linda Kozlowski, who's the president of our city council, and many of you here will know her from her decades of devotion to this very topic. So it's really appropriate that Linda be the one to offer that thanks, which I would echo.
The second thing, and I'll just be brief here this morning, is I'd like to remind everyone that they are invited to join us on Saturday, April 6th at 11 a.m. when we will be having our groundbreaking ceremony for our City Hall facilities. So that'll be Saturday, April 6th at 11. Everyone is welcome. It is a family-friendly event, so we're hoping to have families and kids and future tax-paying citizens who will be able to join us on that day. We're really looking forward to having a nice morning. So thanks, everyone. That's it for me.
Thank you, Mayor. Do we have anyone on the line from Nehalem or Wheeler? How about Rockaway Beach?
Can you hear me now?
Good morning. Yes, we can.
Good morning, Charles McNeely, Mayor of Rockaway Beach. I'll begin by sharing that our fire department purchased a second vehicle extraction e-tool, which was deployed in our first response vehicle. This e-tool, the exciting thing about this e-tool is it's designed to allow a single first responder to begin the process of removing trapped and often injured persons from a damaged vehicle before the full response team mobilizes and arrives. Second, we received a notice that our Wayside Beach Access Project, which is a ramp and stairs, is now officially under review by the Oregon Parks Department. Knock on wood, if all goes well, we are looking at a fall 2024 project. On Thursday, City Manager Shepherd and I will host our monthly Coffee with Manager and Mayor at 9 p.m. in the second floor conference room at City Hall. It's a great opportunity to meet other members of our community and share your thoughts on Rockaway Beach. And then on the fun side, on Saturday, March 30th, Rockaway Beach hosts our annual Easter egg hunt for ages up to 12 years. Please arrive at Phyllis Baker Park at 11:50 a.m. for a prompt start at 12 noon. And then a bit of a staffing update. City Manager Shepherd announced the hiring of Marnie Johnson as Finance Director. Ms. Johnson worked at Rockaway Beach from 2011 to 2019. Her last position before leaving was Finance Officer. Since her stint with Rockaway Beach, she spent 3 years as Assistant Finance Director for the City of Cannon Beach, and most recently as Finance Manager and Grant Coordinator for the Tillamook Coast Visitors Association. Since leaving Rockaway Beach, Ms. Johnson earned a bachelor's degree in business administration, and we were just excited to have her return to city staff. I want to mention that since I took office in January 2023, which is, a year and a few months, City Manager Shepherd has totally reorganized our City Hall staff. He added a city recorder, a full-time city planner, and of course, this recent add of a finance director. He did this while keeping FTE levels static. I'm over the moon, excited for our city and where it will go next. As you oftentimes hear me say, it's a great time to be mayor of Rockaway Beach. And then I'll end by saying that Rockaway Beach welcomes spring break visitors with open arms. Back to you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mayor. What a great update. That's several wonderful things to congratulate you on. Yeah,
thank you.
So thank you. Do we have someone with us from Garibaldi? Mayor Findling from Garibaldi? Give her a chance to unmute. Well, if you're with us, pop in when you can. We'll move on to Bay City, the city of Bay City.
Good morning, Commissioner Bell. This is Leanne Welch, Mayor of Bay City. How are you today?
Good morning. Nice to hear from you.
So I'd also like to thank the state of Oregon for their helping us with, their ER6, which I think is mass care. So the Bay City Emergency Volunteers is working collaboratively with the Tillamook County Citizens Corps, which is TC4 for emergency preparedness under your emergency management. We're spending a lot of time on that, and we are working together across the county to write a grant to help us all be more prepared. So I echo everything that's been said about that. This morning at 9:30, there's a coffee with the mayor and city manager here at Bay City. So if there's any residents of Bay City, come on down to City Hall. We've got coffee and treats, and let's just have continue our community conversation. And the other thing I'd like to talk about is Senate Bill 1576. So the legislature did reestablish the recreational immunity clause for our trails until 2026. However, it only covered cities and counties over 500,000. So a reminder to other cities, small cities here in our community, that you may want to look at doing a resolution, which the city of Bay City is doing in April, is to include us on that recreational immunity that the state just passed through 2026. So with that, I will pass it back to you, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. How about the city of Tillamook? Nathan George, are you with us this morning? Give Nathan a moment to unmute. Can circle back to Garibaldi. Do we have Mayor Findlay? Nathan, if you're on and not able to unmute, I apologize. You're generally here, so I'm sure something's going on right now, and we regret not missing your report. So with that, I want to wish everyone a very happy Easter. I hope you have a joyful time with your families or friends or with whomever you celebrate, if you celebrate. And if not, I hope people have a very happy spring holiday. And I want to thank KTIL for broadcasting this meeting. I want to thank everyone for listening and thank everyone for participating. This meeting is adjourned at 9:06 a.m. Thank you.